Hey there, welcome to Movie Reedviews. I'm going to be talking about Batman v Superman more in depth now. It's not going to be a full-blown spoiler review, even though there will be spoiler talk. But a lot of people, most people have seen the movie now, so I figured instead of just talking about spoilers, it's been a couple weeks since it came out, I thought I would just talk about my favorite moments, because there were good moments. Just the movie itself was kind of like a mess and things were sprinkled throughout. So it was kind of like a dinner that tasted good, but it just looked crappy and things were kind of like messily put together. And so instead of just talking about all of that, I'm going to focus mostly on my favorite moments, but I wanted to get through some other quick spoilers really quick. I really like the beginning and the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, Superman dies. And so that's something that I thought Warner Brothers and DC had the guts to actually do, even though by the end you see like the little dirt floating off the coffin, so you know he's coming back and you knew that was going to happen anyway. But they killed him at the end of this movie. He's dead, so we don't know what kind of ramifications is going to happen in the next movie. So I thought that was interesting, and we knew that from the trailers we were going to see Bruce Wayne's parents' death again. And so I thought they put that in the best part that they could have. If you're going to show the parents' death and show how important that was, especially for later in the movie with Martha, you might as well just put it right at the beginning during the credits, get it out of the way, and I thought it had a really artistic look to it, and I really liked the score during that part. One of the worst parts, though, was the icons for Dawn of Justice. They have Wonder Woman looking at the files, and wow, Lex Luthor created icons with his marketing department for each of these superheroes. Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Aquaman, and so you get to click on each of these files with these logos. That part was just way too shoehorned in and like too obvious for the audience. Like you could have just made some files and just click on it, and then we'll learn more about them later, like the name or the logo. Lex was also a meh part to me because he just didn't seem like he fit the tone of the movie. A lot of the tone was really dark and serious, and he had these kind of like different ideologies. But then you have Lex going like, ooh, 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 like I talked about in my normal review, and it's just like his tone, his character, even though I didn't mind him, he didn't fit the rest of the movie. That was my problem with him. Now, almost getting to my favorite scenes, a couple honorable mentions. The party scene where you have Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent talking. You get to see Bruce Wayne being like that billionaire as well as that detective. And you get to see Clark Kent being that reporter. But another scene would also be finding Wonder Woman. She jumps into the scene. You get to see her fight, her first entrance, when she gets hit back from Doomsday and she kind of smirks a little bit. I really like this. So I really like that part as well. The Batmobile chase was pretty legit to watch, even though, he's grabbing cars and swinging them around and he probably kills some people. But I actually don't mind that because he's an old grizzled Batman. We don't know what happened to make him that way later in life. Hopefully we'll find that out in other movies, but I thought that Batmobile chase was pretty cool. Last honorable mention, the Doomsday fight. It didn't make it into my top 5. Maybe it's number 6, but I thought there were some other better scenes than the Doomsday fight at the end, just because it was just a big mishmash of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday. But I like that they each had their part to play. Wonder Woman had the lasso, Superman stabbed Doomsday with the spear, but Batman first hit him with the kryptonite bullets or the gas, so it kind of weakened him. So they each had a part to play. It was cool seeing them all fight Doomsday, but there were some other moments in the movie that just made me go kind of surprised me, and so let's get into those. Number 5 would actually be Superman's hearing. He's going there, he figures he might as well talk it out with the people and let him know what he's been doing, kind of stand out to the people and give his side of things. But then as you show up, you figure that Lex has done some manipulation and he blows up the entire the Senate, the hearing. And so even though I don't know if people would actually think Superman's going to do this, but even for a brief moment they might. For the first maybe day or two, they're going to fight against Superman, and you can even see that look on Clark Kent's face. He's just why does this keep happening to me? So I like that scene. I'm a huge Batman fan, so pretty much the rest of these are going to focus on Batman with some Superman. But number 4 would be the nightmare scene, where you have him in the desert garb, and then you get to see him fight. There was that one take where he's just fighting a bunch of guys of the Superman minions, whatever you want to call them, and the parademons are flying in, and you get to see him having that doomsday vision and the apocalyptic kind of look of what the world might be later on. So I thought that whole scene was just pretty cool and interesting and different to watch. It also led to the Flash scene where Flash shows up to Bruce Wayne, probably from the future, letting him know hey, you gotta change some things. And even though I understand how people might be confused from that scene, but I personally, just kind of knowing some of the background, I really like that scene. Number 3, mankind is introduced to the Superman. Right after you have the death of Bruce Wayne's parents, it leads right into modern day, where you see Bruce Wayne running through Metropolis trying to save people as he's looking up, and Superman's crashing around with Zod, except he doesn't know Superman's good. He just sees these two aliens fighting and killing everyone, and he has these like godlike powers, and so you see him running through the streets, helping people, finding the little girl, helping his employee from underneath the rubble, and that whole beginning scene, I thought it was a great way to start off the movie. Number 2, the fight, Batman v Superman. You get to see each of their strengths, and I thought that was really interesting, as you see Superman just crashing Batman through the buildings and throwing him into the bat signal, but then all of a sudden Batman comes back with a grenade, and you get to see like Batman trying to punch Superman, and it actually works, but then his jaw tightens up because he's the Man of Steel, and then he goes back, and it just keeps going back and forth. I actually didn't mind the Martha scene too at the end, because if you understand Batman's motivation for things, when he says, "Save Martha," when Superman says that, it kind of triggers something in Batman thinking like, "Save Martha? Wait, what are you talking about?" And they could have talked it out, but I don't want them to talk it out. And so I didn't mind that scene. I liked the fight. I wish it was longer, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't awesome. Now, what could beat the Batman v Superman fight? At least in my opinion, being a Batman fan, that Batman warehouse scene was just awesome to watch. You can see Batman taking out like 24 guys all at the same time, just like crashing, like punching 2 of them at the same time, throwing guys into walls, grabbing a crate and chucking it into another guy, throwing this like batarang into some guy, and just watching all that, I just kind of like laughed to myself. It wasn't funny, but it was like a joyful laugh, like, this is actually happening, I'm so happy. That kind of sums up my thoughts on the movie. Like I mentioned, some parts like Lex and the icons were okay, and like a lot of the story points, like I mentioned in my normal review, were kind of just weirdly put together. But that doesn't mean that there weren't great scenes. There were some other good scenes I'm sure that other people liked. A lot of those fight scenes near the end, like the last hour, is just like a lot of different fights, so it kind of breaks it up. But I liked a lot of the Batman stuff. That Superman hearing was good, as well as like some of those other fights like I mentioned. So let me know what your favorite moments were. I'd love to hear, kind of build up the movie a little bit. We know that there were problems, but what's your favorite parts? Leave some comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time for my next video, review, trailer reaction. We'll see what it is.